Well, world leaders are reacting to the Russian attack on Ukraine. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson addressing the UK Parliament just a short time ago.
And for more on what he said, we're joined live now by CTV's Daniele Hamamdjian, who's live in London. Danielle, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. So we heard from British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Can you kind of recap the new sanctions that he announced?
Absolutely. And you might remember that the first set of sanctions, many criticized him for saying it simply didn't go far enough. And so this is what he's just announced in Westminster, the House of Commons. He said that there will be a full asset freeze on all major Russian banks, and they'll be excluded from the UK financial system. Russian nationals living here, and there are many, will have limited access to their bank accounts. In other words, there'll be a limit on how much money they can deposit in their bank accounts here. There'll be sanctions and asset freezes on 100 new entities and individuals. They've banned Aeroflot, which is the Russian airline. It'll be unable to land here in the UK. There'll be stringent export controls. Technology products won't be sold in Russia. He announced a new kleptocracy cell in security services. And on that note, he says corrupt oligarchs will have nowhere to hide. And on that note, I just want to add something about, this kleptocracy cell. For 7 years, up until just a few days ago, the UK had something called a golden visa scheme. And the name sort of is self-explanatory. It allowed wealthy individuals, foreigners, to jump the immigration line and buy a visa and buy their way into the UK as long as they invested millions of dollars into British companies. Well, during that period, over 200 Russian millionaires bought their way into the UK. Some people call London Londongrad. There is so much dirty Russian money circulating here in London. And so that scheme was ended just a few days ago, and it was announced by the Home Secretary. But here you have it, the new sanctions announced by the UK. But for it to really bite, to really hit hard the Russian economy, of course, that has to be adopted by all of the G7.
Yeah, Danielle, I appreciate the clarity on that line because we actually were carrying Boris Johnson's remarks when he said oligarchs will have nowhere to hide. So that really does put it into context there. Beyond sanctions, though, Danielle, we know Britain has really been an ally and a close ally of Ukraine. What sort of militarily, in terms of equipment or even personnel, is the UK doing to help the effort in Ukraine?
Well, it's interesting you say that because he did say today they will continue to help militarily. And so that implies perhaps to keep sending weapons. But you've seen the pictures of air bases being bombed in Ukraine. That could potentially mean a tactic to stop or to prevent Western allies from sending weapons to Ukraine. But I just want to touch on a note that my colleague Richard Madden was talking about earlier, and that is the SWIFT banking system. A lot of chatter about that because that is what the opposition here is pushing for, to ban Russia from using the SWIFT banking system. It's, in very plain terms, it is a messaging system for banks, and it allows money to go back and forth. If you ban Russia from using that, it will really hit hard the Russian economy and everyday people in Russia. And so that was not announced today, but no doubt they are keeping that on the table. It's in their back pocket.